I'm Sharvari and I'm a lead IAM engineer at Cybersolve. I'll be here talking to you today about exploring your data in the Identity Security Cloud. So basically, by exploring our data in the Identity Security Cloud, we are trying to get access to useful insights which will help us identify risky behavior. So like detecting if there are any user access patterns or any anomalous login attempts, because all these could be potential red flags which we can help us identify any potential security threats. Also, the data analysis can help us identify and address these risks before they turn into full-blown breaches. It will also help us to optimize the access management, basically to make sure that all the users are granted the right level of access and there are no inefficiencies or inconsistencies in those. At the same time, we also want to make data compliance easier. That way, when we are trying to meet regulations by SOX and GDPR, we are able to gather all the data at the most granular level that they are expecting us to. We have all the necessary audits and reports in place, and then it just saves us time and resources when all these things are available easily. So by unlocking these insights, we will basically be able to make informed decisions and optimize the security posture to take our identity platform to the next level. So let's dive into how the identity security platform can help us use the tools built within the tool, as well as how we can use some of the extensibility features available to explore this data further. So that's a brief agenda for today. So we'll look into exploring some of the existing reporting and auditing capabilities. We'll go through some of the built-in reporting features we have. We'll explore the search functionalities. We'll look into how scripting can help us further. And lastly, we'll also cover secure data share and access intelligence center. So as we all are aware, identity now already comes with a lot of built-in reporting functionalities where we have built-in audit reports, we have identity reports, we have a lot of event reports as well. These could be extracted either from the search functionality or some of the built-in reporting, and together all these reports help us achieve a very high level of visibility, which is basically going to help us improve our business outcomes and take the platform to where we want it to be. So let's dive right into it. Let's explore some of the built-in functionalities of reporting that we have available. So if you're able to see my screen, so we have these nice built-in reports that are available directly within the SailPoint platform. So we have about 3 reports here, which are basically very useful when we are trying to do access reports and even do access reviews. So just before doing that, if we run these reports, this will help us give a good insight into fixing some of the data anomalies that are there. That way we don't skip these accounts and then they are still accounted for when we're trying to do these reviews. Another place where you can find built-in report is via our search functionality. So when you go to search and you just click on this left tab over here, you can see we have a lot of auditing reports available here. So you can look at the password changes, you have all the provisioning activity here. So all you have to do is just click on it and then it will show us all the provisioning activities that have happened in the recent times. And then definitely we can apply all sorts of date filters possible. We can choose the columns that we want to see, and finally we are able to download these reports. So that are some of the built-in functionality and features that we have in Identity Security Cloud as of now. And we've already started looking into search, so let's explore what search has to offer further. So within the search functionality, we can search for almost everything that we are looking for. So we can either make use of the built-in suggested searches that we have. So to look for that, you just have to come to this text box here and then you just click on it, and you would notice that you have a lot of suggested searches pre-built in here in the UI. which could definitely be used. And some of them which are handy are like, you are trying to find identities that have privileged access. So you just browse through those reports by clicking on that suggested search, and then you can get that report handy, and you are able to again download them and also add additional columns if you were to find more details about that particular account or things like that. So another great feature with search is like you can not only browse through and search queries through the UI, you can also save them. And once you have saved a query, you have the option to subscribe to them. So once you subscribe to a particular query, what it will do for you is it can send out an email on a scheduled frequency and to any people that we want to have that report. So if I save this query, let's minimize this. It starts appearing here in my saved search queries, and then I have the option to subscribe to it. So when I subscribe to it, basically I am able to set up a frequency of when I want the report, whether I want it to be sent out daily, weekly, monthly. So I can definitely select that schedule. Maybe let's say monthly on the first day, and maybe around midnight. And lastly, you have to choose who the report has to be sent to. So this is where you actually pick who the report should be sent out to. So right now I'm just going to select my ID, but you can select any identities who need to have this. So essentially you'll be sending it to a source owner or maybe an app owner who needs to view access of this, and then you just hit subscribe, and then once it's ready, it will send out a mail to this person based on the search query results. So that's how easy it is to use search. And these are some of the additional search query examples, just to show us that what kind of search queries are supported. So it does support regular expressions, it supports searching within date ranges, and then it also helps you support with certain flags and wildcards. So it's really good actually. So let's look at one of the existing queries which looks up by date. So over here you can see it's trying to find any identities that were created in the last 24 hours. So we're going to take it back to maybe the last 30 days to see if we get some results. And yeah, there it is. So we have about 8 users who were created within the last 1 month. So that's how you try to use search with date functionality. And then if you were to find something with your roles, you could just filter on what type of indices you want the search query to return, and then you unselect this. And then right now if I just give a star like a wildcard, it would show me a list of all the roles available within my system. So it's fairly easy to use and very straightforward. So we use it a lot, and this really helps with extracting the data the way we need it. But again, coming to the next slide, so basically over here I'm going to highlight some of the limitations of search. So one of the important limitations is like if you have noticed in my previous slide when I was trying to create this subscription, I had to choose from an existing identity. So but we do come across use cases where sometimes a report has to be sent out to a certain mailbox, which is basically monitored by a group of people. So in that case, to achieve that use case, what we're going to do is define an identity for that mailbox, and then we have to save and subscribe to that query from that particular user ID, so that we are able to send that report to that particular mailbox. So that's kind of a workaround that we have today, but we definitely like to see some improvements where we are able to send these reports out to mailboxes directly. And also another feature, I think I haven't highlighted it on this slide particularly, but having an option to share these queries. So like when I hit save query over here, it just saves it to my local ID. So only when I log in, I am able to see this query under my saved queries. But as opposed to if someone else logs in to the same tenant, they are not going to see this query. So it would really be helpful to have that functionality where someone would come and be able to share that query with a colleague or someone else who also needs to monitor the same report. So like have the query be shareable by a group. And other than that, I think the rest of are some of the limitations we are already aware of. Like the UI only supports 10,000 entries on here, and if you have to export additional reports, you got to download that and then browse through that within your Excel or the CSV options. Another important functionality which is missing is having the option to go through account attributes. So like sometimes we come across queries where a customer will come and ask, hey, I want to see users who have not logged in since like maybe 30 days. So in that case, we have to browse through the Active Directory last log on timestamp. But for whatever reason, search doesn't support that because it's an account level attribute. So I have to end up doing different workarounds to try and fetch that data. So that's when we actually turn around to our next option to explore the data, which is basically trying to use REST APIs in scripting. So by using this approach, it's going to help us to basically overcome some of the search limitations that we have, because Identity Security Cloud does definitely have a good amount of APIs. I think a lot of endpoints are supported. And then the nice thing about it is, as a developer, you can use any programmatically language like Java, Python, or whichever language you are familiar with, to call these APIs and perform any kind of batch processes or other complex user applications that you're trying to build. So what I'm going to do is I'll quickly show. So this is how we call a search API for a single user. So I'm in this particular Postman query, what I'm trying to do is find any users whose name starts with the word Amy. And then as you can see, this is my search results where I got just a single user, and that's Amy Cox. And it's along with just the basic user details, it also brings me the account and the entitlement detail of this user. So that's really nice. So that's how like simple how an API call works. You just have to call that API with this search request body, and then you have the JSON result right in front of you. And then what I'm going to try to show you is also, if I were to do the same thing in PowerShell, so I want to call the same search API using a scripting language. I'm using PowerShell in this case. So this is what my code looks like. So in this case, actually I have to make two API calls. The first one would be to fetch my access token, and then the second one is to actually run the search query. And in this case, again, I'm running the same query where I'm trying to search any users that have the first name Amy. So I'm going to go over to my PowerShell and just quickly try to show you. Sorry, not this one. So when I run this API, I'm going to get the same results. So whatever we saw in Postman, either you query your APIs using Postman, or you can do a PowerShell script for the same, and then your results are available right there. So right now I'm just displaying them on the screen, but you can have it redirected to a CSV file. So coming to SailPoint CLI and SDK, I know most of us are familiar with both of these tools from a perspective of we mostly use them for creating SaaS connectors and from SaaS connectivity. But I'd also like to quickly demonstrate how these two tools can help you with searching your data. So I have this. So obviously to make those work, we have to download and install them on your local boxes. And then once that is done, we do a small configuration setup where you have to basically let the tool know what your URL or your tenant is. And then either if you want to use a PAT or you want to use authentication, then you just provide your client ID and secret, and that's all it needs. So it just works. So you install it and then you have it set up. And I have CLI already set up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the same query in here. So the CLI has two good things. It can, we can give a search query directly here, or I can define a search template. So let's look at both the options available via the CLI. So in this case, you will see it's already performed the search and it has exported the results and they are saved in this file. So let's quickly look at this file. So it creates a search results folder, and within that, if you open it, these are the same JSON results which I was able to grab through Postman or using my PowerShell earlier. And this is the same thing which a single line of CLI code got me. So now, this may not be the perfect example, but if you have certain search queries which you run on a daily basis, or like you want to do some repetitive search, we can define search templates in CLI. And in this search templates, sorry, I think I have it. So I have these few custom templates defined, and then there are also some pre-built existing ones. So what this can do is you basically define a template of your queries. So whenever you run this command, it will present those templates to you, and then you can choose which one you want to run. So right now I'm going to run the same one which we've been doing. So I'm going to search with all the users who have the name Amy. And then again, these are exported as a JSON file. Yes, and it's the same file name. So I'm just going to reload this file, and you can see we got the same user back. So all of these are different ways of trying to explore the same data that we want. So you either use the APIs directly, or you make up your own PowerShell, or you try to use a CLI. And coming to SDKs also has one nice function. It has an invoke PageNet search function which can be utilized. So before I execute that, let me show you the script for it actually. So this was my script for just running a plain PowerShell script trying to invoke APIs. But when I'm doing the same thing using an SDK, all I have to do is invoke my SDK function over here, and managing the authentication, managing the token, that's all taken care by this function internally, because when we have set up the SDK, we've already provided the configuration and the system knows which tenant and what we are trying to search. So all you got to do is let it know which query you want to be executed, and then you just simply call this function. So I'm just going to run this PowerShell now. It's taking a bit, but I think it will eventually export the results to this file, which I'm redirecting to as users.txt file. Not sure why it's taking time. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and show you from one of the previous runs the results that it extracted for us. And then this was the output I got from the SDK file. And as you can notice, it has a different format. Definitely it's not a JSON, but it's more like name value pairs. But it was still able to, fetch the same user back for us. So again, another way to explore your data. I'm just gonna kill this for now. All right. Going back, and then the last SDK command I'd like to show is, sorry, not SDK, but I think CLI. It's more like sale report. So this is again, when I run this command, what it does is behind the scenes there's a report template which it reads and it will present me with options of which one I want to run. And once I run this, the difference between the previous template and this template is, within this I can configure input parameters, and then the result of this particular query is not going to be JSON, but it will just return me counts. And that is also helpful sometimes where I'm just trying to find out outliers, or I just need count of a certain query. So as you can notice here, what I'm trying to find is provisioning events in the last 15 days, or 14 days in my case, because I passed that as a parameter. So again, so these repetitive queries can be built into nice templates, and then you can have them run via the CLI or SDK. Or if it is more complex, you can always use the built-in scripting or some of the other options. So now all of this, what we've seen so far, is more from a developer perspective. So you need to be familiar with some kind of a programming language that can get you going. But we also have tools where your analyst, like maybe a BA or anyone in the team, who's not very hands-on on programming, but they still want to explore your data. So for that reasons, we can use secure data share. This is one of the newer offerings that SailPoint has come up with. So it's basically like when you use secure data share, what it does essentially is, in this case now, once you get the add-on with Snowflake, and what we have to do is set up the private data share within Snowflake, and then Snowflake becomes your warehouse. So what that means is basically, all the data that exists in SailPoint today is in a very secure and an encrypted format, then taken over to Snowflake. The data is all flattened out. So you will have your separate tables for identities, access, entitlements, and definitely you will also have all the audit reporting and everything. We'll have separate audit event tables. So now once you have all these tables and flattened data within Snowflake, we can build queries on top of that. And whatever joins, whatever report we want to build, that becomes very easy. Why? Because it's all in a database format now. You can write your queries, and the data that we search, the results are basically in a tabular format. So it becomes very easy to, you don't have to go between JSON and translating your data into CSVs or Excels. It becomes quite easy. And then finally, once you have that data, you have built your reports, then you can use Snowflake to connect to any of your favorite choice. Like you can do Power BI, you can do Tableau, you can do Qlik. Any of the integration tools can be used to build a more advanced or visual reports using that data. So I don't actually have a secure data share live demo for you right now, but I'm going to pull up one screenshot to show you how it's set up. So it's as easy as you just log into your Snowflake system, and then you set up a private data share. And once you provide all your credentials, what it will do is it will just set up all the SailPoint access data tables within your Snowflake, and from here on now Snowflake becomes your data warehouse. And whatever, there's no delay in getting the data over from SailPoint to secure data like Snowflake. Whatever data is present in SailPoint at this point, in this moment, it's automatically going to be available in Snowflake. So you can just browse through that, build your reports on top of it, and then it's really helpful. I like that. But we come across organizations who may not have Snowflake, right? So what about those? So for those organizations, we can use the built-in SailPoint Access Intelligence Center. So now, what is AIC? So AIC is again, it's one of the add-on which you have to get, like it's a separate AI-driven license that you have to get with ISC. But what I like about it is it brings a lot of details on the identities, and then you get a lot of useful access insights that can be actually utilized to build smart dashboards. So, we can build dashboards for identities, we can build dashboard for entitlements, and these dashboards can then be shared, or it can be authored to present whatever visuals we want. So within AIC we have two types of dashboards. We have an Access Intelligence Center, which focuses more on identities and certifications and access request perspective. And the other side, we have the audit dashboard, which basically focuses more on the audit and event activities happening within the system. And the audit dashboard does query the same data as search, so it will have all the audit data for the 3 months or the last 5 million events. And now again, within your AIC there are two permissions available. So either you could be a read-only user, set up as a read-only user who can just browse through dashboards, or you can be an author who is the person basically who can design dashboards which are then viewed or shared by the rest of the team. Let's look at the live demo. So within my tenant, so it does come with some pre-built dashboards, and then what we can do is also build our own dashboard. So we'll look at both of them. So these are the two dashboards I was talking about. This is your AIC dashboard, and this is the audit dashboard. So from the sheets option here, we can browse through all the available sheets. So these are the two private sheets which I have built up, and then these are the ones on the top are the ones pre-built by SailPoint. Let's look at one of these. So over here you can notice the nice visuals that we have. It really gives you a good picture of what's happening in the system. So like over here we have the number of identities we have in the system, then how many number of identities were created in the last month or the last week, or we can just browse through dates. And then we have another chart over here which goes over the top job titles and things like that. So these are just some demo examples that we can use, and then we can build our own dashboards as well. So I'll just show you one dashboard which I tried to build. The thing is, it's quite easy to build one, right? Because this is the one I built. So what I'm using over here is, this is like one of the KPI charts where I'm trying to show that we have about 340 identities in my system, and then they have about 1200 accounts, and then we have some bar charts, line chart, like a pie chart over here, a donut chart. It was quite easy to build. So all you got to do is you edit your sheet. You just have to choose which chart you need, and then once you know your dimensions, like what measures and dimensions you want to use, you just keep on dragging and dropping them, and that's how easy it becomes to build your own dashboards. And these are all the available chart options out here. Now one nice thing I like about AIC is you can also do storytelling. So means when we have these dashboards designed, we can capture some screenshots, and then we can have that screenshots captured every month or every quarter, and then you just put those screenshots together as a story, and then that's what you can take back to your business. So that's really nice. So I hope you like all the options. I think that's all the options I had for you today. And then feel free to post any questions that you may have in maybe the forum chat, or you can have a discussion or message us, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about any of these tools.